This is the unit test for diversity and evolution. It is a multiple choice test. Choose the best answer and bubble in your selection on the answer sheet that is provided to you by your teacher. Number 1. While visiting his uncle's farm, Derek learned that mules are crosses between horses and donkeys and that mules are unable to reproduce. Why would mules be infertile when horses and donkeys are able to reproduce? A. Mules have fewer adaptations for survival than do horses or donkeys. B. Horses and donkeys are different species from mules, so mules are all females. C. Horses and donkeys are different species from mules, so mules are all male. D. Horses and donkeys are different species and cannot produce fertile offspring. Number 2. The figure below shows two spotted salamanders. They are the same kind of salamander, but they live in different areas. Which of these terms is used to describe the difference between them? A. Adaptation. B. Population. C. Selection. D. Variation. Number 3. William discovered that two modern-day species have very similar DNA. He concludes that the two species are closely related. What type of evidence did William most likely use to reach his conclusion? A. Fossil evidence. B. Genetic evidence. C. Structural evidence. D. Evidence from developmental patterns. Number 4. What is natural selection? A. The process by which humans breed a species for certain characteristics. B. The process in which inherited characteristics change over generations so that new species arise. C. The process by which Charles Darwin noted the differences in finches while visiting the Galapagos Islands. D. The process by which individuals that are better adapted to their environment survive and reproduce. Number 5. What is evolution? A group of organisms that are closely related and can mate to produce fertile offspring. B. The process in which inherited characteristics of a population change over generations such that new species sometimes arise. C. The process by which individuals that are better adapted to their environment survive and reproduce. D. A characteristic that improves an individual's ability to survive and reproduce in a particular environment. Number 6. A scientist described two modern-day species as sharing a common ancestor. What does it mean when two species share a common ancestor? A. The two species are actually the same species. B. One of the species evolved into the other species. C. Both species are descended from one species that lived in the past. D. One species cannot be traced to an ancestor, so it is grouped with a similar modern-day species. Number 7. Which of these conditions is least likely to cause a species to become extinct due to environmental changes? A. Less genetic variation. B. More genetic variation. C. Specific food preferences. D. More competition for food. Number 8. The diagram below shows a portion of the fossil record in sedimentary rock. Different rock layers and fossils are clearly visible. Which of these statements is true of the fossils and rock layers shown in the diagram? A. Layer B contains the second oldest fossils. B. Layer A contains the most recently formed fossils. C. The fossils in Layer B are older than those in Layer D. Or D. The fossils in Layer D are the most recently formed. Number 9. When farmers want two desirable traits in cows, they often breed individuals that have those traits in the hopes that the offspring will have both desirable traits. What is this practice called? A. Variation. B. Adaptation. C. Natural selection. D. Artificial selection. Number 10. Environmental changes may lead to the evolution of a species. Polar bears live in the Arctic. Ice in the Arctic is melting fast, reducing the range where the polar bear can live. If polar bears do not have adaptations that allow them to survive these changes, what may happen to the polar bears? A. They may become extinct. B. They may overpopulate. C. They may change the environment. D. They may become another species. Number 11. When Charles Darwin observed finches on the Galapagos Islands, he noted differences in the shapes of the birds' beaks. He observed that finches that ate insects had longer, narrow beaks than finches that crushed and ate seeds. Which finch shown below is most likely adapted to eating seeds? A, B, C, or D? Number 12. One day while hiking, Maria found a rock in the wall of a canyon. In the rock, she noticed an impression of a leaf. Which answer best describes what Maria has found? A. DNA, B. Fossil, C. Genetic evidence, D. Developmental pattern. Number 13. What is an adaptation? A. A group of organisms that are closely related and can mate to produce fertile offspring. B. A process by which inherited characteristics change over generations, such that new species sometimes arise. C. A process by which individuals that are better adapted to their environment survive and reproduce. D. A characteristic that improves an individual's ability to survive and reproduce in a particular environment. Number 14. What is a species? A. A group of organisms that are closely related and can mate to produce fertile offspring. B. The process by which inherited characteristics change over generations, such that new species sometimes arise. C. The process by which individuals that are better adapted to their environment survive and reproduce. D. A characteristic that improves an individual's ability to survive and reproduce in a particular environment. Number 15. Which of these answers describes a vestigial organ? A. Grows and improves in function as it is used. B. Functions at certain times of the year and or under certain conditions. C. Physically similar to other structures but has a different function. D. Reduced in size or function from the organ found in an organism's ancestors. Number 16. What is a population? A. The process by which better adapted individuals survive and reproduce. B. The process by which inherited characteristics change such that new species sometimes arise. C. A group of organisms that are related and can mate to produce fertile offspring. D. A group of organisms of the same species that live in a specific geographical area. Number 17. Which of these statements is most likely true of two species that share a recent common ancestor? A. They are likely to have similar developmental patterns. B. They probably will not have any similar DNA sequences. C. They are not likely to have any structural similarities. D. Fossils of each of their ancestors will look very different from each other. Number 18. Which of these answers best describes a fossil? A. Thick layers of rock. B. Organisms from which other organisms are descended. C. Body of an organism that died recently but is not decomposed. D. Remains of a once living organism found in layers of rock or amber. Number 19. Which of these scenarios is an example of natural selection? A. Farmers crossbreed two types of cows to produce a breed of cow that has high quality beef and can tolerate a hot climate. B. Giraffes that have longer necks survive a dry season by eating leaves from the tops of trees. Those giraffes breed more successfully that year. C. Dogs of the same breed that have a desirable coat color are bred with one another to produce more puppies with that same coat color. D. Rattlesnakes that rattle when approached by humans are killed, but rattlesnakes that remain silent are not killed. The quiet snakes survive and breed. Number 20. Which of these statements is an example of DNA as evidence of evolution? A. Two species that have the same DNA show that evolution has taken place. B. Two species with very similar DNA probably have a common ancestor. C. All modern species have similar DNA, showing that organisms have evolved. D. DNA from related species is usually the same, thus showing that all organisms evolved from the same DNA. Now we'll move on to the short answer portion of your test. Answer the following questions on the answer sheet that has been provided to you. Number 21. Why is genetic variability important to the survival of a species? Number 22. Describe the observations Charles Darwin made that led to his theory of evolution by natural selection. Please go back and review any questions that you feel you may not have answered. Double check your answer sheet to ensure that you've bubbled in the correct answer of your choosing, and make sure that you've answered your short answer in a full and complete sentence to receive points on a practitioner level.